Fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We'll talk more soon. I'm going to put on the positive side, right? Focus, take whatever it is you're making right now, and I'm telling you, we will see a completely different world, all right? Fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We'll talk more soon. Come on, somebody. Come on, so we're going to do really confident that we already know.
I can do some things to supplement what the education system is not providing.
Teammates, by far the most valuable thing that you can invest in if you are owner of a business is personal development. Personal development for yourself, personal development for your staff, personal development for anybody around you. If you want to see your company excel and stand the test of time, personal development is the most important thing you can invest in. All right. Now, first of all, if this is your first time listening to the Move Swiftly podcast, welcome to the show. My regular listeners, you already know I would get right into it. And today's topic is personal development. Understanding. I want to give you guys a clear picture, a clear understanding from top to bottom of why personal development is a necessity. I said it's a necessity. I said it's the most important. It's necessary. It's not something that you could simply brush off. Personal development. All right. Understand this. Let's just break it down. Let's use an example. Let's just go right from the basic level. When you run a business, whether you started the business yourself, whether you came into ownership yourself, whether you got voted in to be the CEO, whether you're an entrepreneur and you came up with a product and it's time for your product, or time for your idea, time for your service, time for whatever it is you're doing. It's time for that thing to start making some money when it gets to that place where it's ready for public consumption and you are ready to start selling your product, selling your service, making your offer, pitching away, giving cars to people, doing whatever it is you need to do. That, my friend, is where you have to stay. There's no going back. All right, I'm going to say that again. There's no going back. What I mean is, if you are, let's just use the example of a person who started a sandwich shop, all right? Let's say it's a cheesesteak factory, whatever it is. When that person pays the money for a food truck or pays the overhead for a restaurant, now the clock begins. You don't get to be necessarily creative in terms of the kind of sauce you put in. You don't get to necessarily try something out or try out a bunch of different flavors and see which one works and see which one doesn't work, all that other kind of shit. When your store is open, when your food truck is open, you're paying rent, you're paying overhead, at this point, you're probably paying a friend, a staff, whatever it is. And at this point, the customers that come in have to like your product to the point that they come back and pay for it, have to like your cheesesteak to the point that they come back and pay for it over and over and over again if you're going to stay in business. So your focus at this point has shifted from the creative thinker that you were to start the business. And now your focus is on, I got to make money. I got to cut deals. I got to make this overhead back. I got to pay this food truck, or I got to pay gas on this food truck. I got to pay for the stove. I got to pay for the uniforms that all of my staff is wearing. I got to pay for the kitchen. I got to pay for the microwave. I got to pay for the towels. I got to pay for the napkins, the fancy napkins. I got to pay for the silverware. I got to pay for the cups. I can't serve food and not serve drinks too, right? I got to pay for the drinks. Okay, that means I got to be a cooler to keep the drinks cool. All that shit. All the money that just comes out every day when it comes to running your own business or having your own business, it gets really fucking costly, right? It gets incredibly costly. So your mindset when you start this business, gots to make money, Well, guess what? When you've reached that level, when you've gotten to that point where you got to make money, it's like take a number. Take a number. It's like going to the grocery store, right? And just taking a number. Everybody in this world needs to make money. There's no getting around the fact that you have to make money in this world. Now, you own the business, right? You're the business owner, which most likely is one of the reasons you're listening to the show, because I try to tell you guys on every single episode, if you are not trying to be the best, if you're not trying to maximize your potential, if you're not trying to get across the bridge of some sort, then this isn't the show for you, all right? And most of the times, those kinds of people are people who aspire to run their own business. That doesn't mean that you have to run your own business in order to listen to the show. That just means you have to have the mindset. Even in fact, most of the people do listen to this show are the people that have jobs, but they take it like it is their own business. They take their 9 to 5 jobs as serious as it is their own business, because that's what I'm all about. Understanding that regardless whatever the title is, you have to understand that it is your job, it is your business. If you're getting a check from it, it is your business. You may not have started it, you may not have the tax IDs, but at the end of the day, you're a human being and you have to look at it as such as it is your business. That's the mindset that we have to have, right? That's the mindset I want to get you to by the end of this episode. It's important to do that. It's important to do that because every single person has bosses. I don't give a shit if it's President Biden or the person who's sweeping up the floors at the McDonald's you go to. Every single person has a boss. Hence the reason for personal development, the reason for investing in personal development. All right. So when you're that guy or that lady at the top of the food chain, and it's your job to make sure the money's coming in, make sure everything is being run a certain way, make sure if we want to stick with the example of the cheesecake store, make sure that those cheesecakes are being made with the right proportion, so you're not wasting money, making sure it's only a few slabs of cheesesteak used on each and every single sandwich. You're not giving extra meat unless they pay an extra $3 or whatever it is for the extra meat, right? Just like when you go to Chipotle, if you're going to give guacamole away, hey, it's another $3 for that guacamole and chips. They don't just give the guacamole with the regular burrito bowls. You got to pay more money to add guacamole. It's important. And if you're that person who's at the top and you're paying attention to all those small portions and all those little things, again, your mindset is creating a profit, getting a return on your investment, making sure the money's coming in abundance, making sure the cash flow is just flowing and flowing and flowing. Now, let's look at the example of a person who was just hired to do one specific job. That's not your mindset. That is not your mindset whatsoever. I know it should be, but generally speaking, it is not your mind. It is not your mindset. All right. It's not your mindset starting off. Your mindset as a person who was hired was, look, just got a degree, or I just need to help moms around the house, whatever age it was. I need to pay bills now, whatever it is. I need to make money for me. I need to make money for me so I can afford my apartment. I can afford my car now. I can put gas in my car. I can afford groceries, things like that. So your mindset is, I'm going to go take advantage of the fact that this boss or this owner has the mindset of, I want to bring in money. I'm going to take a little bit of that money and then use it for myself to go out and do whatever it is I'm going to do with the money. Here is where that line of that person who's the employee versus that person who's the owner, that line needs to be sharpened. Because if that line, well, first of all, let's just talk about what happens within that separation. All right. So you have, just like a relationship, right? Let's say it's a husband and a wife, and a wife wants to take this job in New York, but the husband gets an incredible opportunity to live in Texas with his dream job. Eventually it leads to a conflict, right? Same thing when it comes to the workspace. You have and it's a conflict that is inevitable. There's no getting around this conflict. All right. It's the person who comes in. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There is a way of getting around it. I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. But it's a conflict. A conflict is inevitable. The actual conflict is inevitable. We will say that. But getting around it, that's where I come in. That's where my work and my expertise could come in and help anybody that's listening right now who's dealing with this very dilemma. All right. So let me just break it down and I'll get into my points. You have the new college graduate. You have the person who's being the young teenager who's being raised by a single parent, and the bills are stacking up and they want to get a job to help out. You have the the mother who just lost her husband or broke up with her husband, now is forced to be a single parent, and then she needs a job. You have the young kid who is just got a car, he needs to pay his car note. Whatever it is, again, the college graduate who just got a job and needs to start paying off some of his student loans. Whatever it is, whatever the reason is that you are going out and you're putting your resume in or you're filling out applications to get a job, it's because you need the money on some level to take care of your personal expenses. And now that's a very selfish mindset to have. It is. It's a very selfish mindset to have. You want to make some money for your own personal needs. Nothing wrong with it, but it is a selfish mindset. Versus the person who started this business that needs to make money so he or she can open up another business and make more money and make more money and make more money and have that cash coming in. So you see the difference in terms of the mindset of the owner. The mindset of the owner is, I got to do what I got to do to make me some money for a lot of group of people so I can build my business and I can keep growing my business. This person who took a job is trying to make some money just so he could pay his car note and live his or her day-to-day life and move on. All right. So there's already that conflict. It's because there's that conflict, hence the need, like I said at the beginning, is personal development. All right. This person who is just going out selfishly, going out, clocking in and out, getting a job, getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, whatever it is, that person that's doing that is headed towards a destructive path. It's headed towards something very ugly. If there isn't, when I say very ugly, I mean, if they have the mindset of, I'm just going to go out and apply for jobs and go to the job that's going to pay me the most money, that is never going to happen. There's nobody that's going to pay you as much money as the most money. All right. There's nobody that can pay you more than you feel like you deserve. There's no more money that you can, there's no, what I'm saying is, there is no unlimited, there's no specific number of amount of money that you can have, right? The amount of money is unlimited. There's no specific number. All right. You never know what's going to come up. You'll always need more money tomorrow. It's never going to be like that. So having the mindset of, okay, I'm going to go out, look into the world, and this person is going to pay me $18 an hour and not pay me instead of $16 an hour. Oh, I'm going to take the $18 an hour job. That is a mistake. That's the point I'm making. That's a mistake because there's just extra money, as opposed to, if this job that's paying you $16 an hour, if this job is providing personal development, if this job is providing you a way to watch your kids, if this job is working with you in terms of how do you grow and become your own boss, how do you grow to the like if that job is working with you from a personal development standpoint, then the $18 an hour job that isn't doing that, that becomes a huge mistake. All right. Let me just I'll give you a few examples. All right. A couple years ago, I worked for two absolutely horrible, like when I say horrible, I mean horrible business owners. The names were DJ and Marie, and they ran this gym named Fitness for Less. And at the time they had 4 locations. I believe last time I checked, they were down to 2 locations. I wouldn't be surprised if their entire business shut down. Here's what made them really bad as owners. All right, very good people. I should preference everything I'm going to say because they're very good people and they were well intended and wanted to do great things and wanted to create jobs and things like that. But they really just had a bad business model and a very lackluster way in terms of how they were going to develop their employees, and their plan for employee retention was just all wrong. I mean, in many ways, a lot of the reasons I'm able to deliver the workshops that I deliver now, and when it comes to employee retention and have the knowledge that I have now, I'm the expert on what I am now. I'm the expert on teamwork. I'm your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. I'm your teamwork guy. A lot of the reasons I'm like that is because I've had tons of experiences like the one I'm getting ready to share with you now. All right. So DJ and Marie, they had this employee whose name is escaping me right now. I think it started with a D, Devon or something like that, who for the most part was a good guy. All right. And for the most part, he's the kind of guy I'm talking about when it comes to just simply someone needing a job, wanting to show up, do his job and get his work done. All right. He was in the middle of school, his undergrads. I believe it was at Texas. And he was planning to go back to Texas, But in the meantime, I believe he had to stay and help his mom, or they wasn't in an affluent neighborhood, so he was just working at this gym. He became the manager, and he was trying to just do something productive as opposed to just being home and running the streets and being an asshole, all that kind of stuff. Just a productive young man, right? So I remember I was having a conversation with him a couple times while I was in the gym, and I remember he said something to me that I share with people even to this day, all right, because it really struck me. He said, "I'd be happy with only making $80,000 a year." And the reason it struck me is because it wasn't something that he planned on. He just kind of said it very impromptu, and it was very authentic the way he said it. I'd be happy with like 80,000 a year. I'd be good. I could pay for this. But, he already kind of calculated that at such a young age, as opposed to say, look, I don't want to put a limit on how much I want to make, as much as I possibly can. All right. That's the mindset we have to have, especially as young people. That mean you're young enough to be able to have that mindset, because you're in the middle of college, you're in the middle of your undergrad. You shouldn't have the mindset of, oh, I'm only making, or I'll be happy with only 80,000 and shit like that. That's ridiculous that you would even say something like that and have naturally say it. But then again, you look at the owners of the place, who did nothing, and I'm speaking from experience as a former employee. The owners, DJ Marie, did nothing from a personal development standpoint. When I say personal development, the only incentive that they offered to keep us as employees was to, all right, I'll give you a commission on how many members you sign up, which again is fair and all that. But at the end of the day, that's their job. It's their job to close people. It's their job to set up the gym in a way that people come in and they sign up. That's their job. Our job was to manage all the gyms and manage the people that were already coming in and make it so those people don't quit. Their job is to actually close them. Now, if you want to create a separate sales position like LA Fitness did, okay, now we can talk. But for you to try to take the people that are already doing a job that is very difficult in itself, which is keeping people in the gym, and then try to add more to them, that's what I mean when I say they dropped the ball completely when it comes to personal development. Personal development should have been more so about how do you, if I'll give you an example. And DJ Marie, if you're listening, you could even take this idea. All right. If they would have said something like, okay, how about I give you a commission on what you sign up, and that commission is stored in an account that goes towards paying off your student loans, or goes towards paying off your tuition, goes to your college fund. You don't have access to this money until you finish your degree. If DJ Marie would have came up with a plan like that, then I would be on here 6 or 7 years ago, like 8 years later, saying, look, those are the best two owners I've ever had, because they had the mindset of whoever comes in and works for me, I'm going to try my best to get to know them personally and what their actual goals really are. No one wants to be a manager of a gym for the rest of their life. But if I would have did something like that, hey, the kid goes to college, and because of the sales he made, he's able to pay off his tuition or pay off some student loans. Maybe he comes back and invents a new treadmill and invents some sort of a new technology in which my gyms and we can become business partners. That's what I mean when I say personal development, is when you invest in people, as opposed to saying, okay, I'm just going to give you extra money for the people you sign up. There's no creativity in that. And at the end of the day, that's just making it so you as a gym owner are benefiting because of our sweat equity, our burn, our grind. And we got to go out of our way and make a bunch of calls and into a gym that we don't even know is going to stay open. You see my point? And that's what I'm saying. I've been in the trenches with that kind of shit. So I've had time to think, and I've had time to be around the opposite. All right. So that was the way that you don't do it. If you're listening and you're a business owner or you're an employee, and you're in that kind of a situation, I'd suggest like hell that you find your way to get away, or even present an idea in which is going to lead to personal development, because this thing is incredibly important. Like I said, like I've been saying throughout this episode. All right. So that's a horrible way. Let me give you an example of a company, and I'll close you out with this example. I'll give you an example of a company that does it the right way. And I didn't know this until maybe maybe about 2 or 3 years ago at this point. I had a client. Her name was Christy Ruiz. All right. And I'll never forget her. Never forget her. Not only because I actually had the opportunity to meet her son, Dylan. I trained him in boxing, and there's pictures, and you can check that out on my Instagram and all that stuff. That wasn't necessarily the reason that I'm such an admirer of Christy Ruiz. All right, and it's not just because her being Cuban is just kind of a icing on the, just kind of a cherry on top, but that's not the reason either. All right. So there was another member. Her name was Emily. Her name was Emily. At the time, Emily worked in HR for the same company. The name of the company is City Furniture, and Emily is no longer with City Furniture. But at the time of her signing up, Emily actually signed up because of some corporate deal that City Furniture had with 9Round, this, that, and third, whatever it was, right? So they had a time in which Emily was there in the morning, and then as Emily was leaving, Christy was starting her workout, right? And Christy was the like behind, like Emily and I were having a conversation, and Christy was like at the back of the gym, so she couldn't hear what me and Emily were talking about. So as Emily was leaving, no, here's what happened. Yeah, so Christy was leaving. Yeah, Christy was the one leaving, and then Emily was the one that had just started her workout. That's what happened. It's coming back to me. Right. So Christy Ruiz, the one who works at, then they both work at City Furniture, but at the time, at least, they were both working at City Furniture. Emily was starting her workout and Christy was leaving. So as Christy left, I remember Emily saying this to me. She just looked at me. She kind of stopped the jump rope. She goes, "Hey, you see that lady that just left? She got millions, and you would never know." Now, this was before I got to know Christy, and before she was actually the first one that told me I need to be on LinkedIn. She was the first one that told me I need to put my brand out there more. In fact, some of the videos of me training her son were, she was the one videotaping and all that. So I know why she has the position that she has. I got to know her well. And because Emily said what she said about her, it made me a lot more interested in getting to know her and things like that. All right. So I asked her one time, I said, all right, so you've been with City Furniture since you graduated college. You did it. You kind of had this job and you stayed with it and you worked your way up to the corporate office VP, raising two boys in a very affluent situation, just doing well for yourself, right? And I asked her, I said, what would it take for someone like me to come in and speak? Because at this time I was just kind of starting off, trying to get my deliverables right, trying to get my delivery right in terms of how I approach these major companies that I'm hoping will book me to come and deliver workshops and things like that. And she said that City Furniture puts out, like, it's a separate department, entire separate department that deals strictly with personal development. And there's about a budget of maybe 100, 200K, 300K. I don't even know what the number is, but a large portion of money that just goes towards personal development. So they put on things like 5Ks. They do things to make it so the employees and the families are constantly engaging with the community. Because City Furniture, you're not going to beat out IKEA. You're not going to beat out all these other places in which people can go buy furniture. You're not going to beat them out if you don't make it so your employees want to go out and make those sales. All right. And the final point I want to make on that is I asked Chris, I was like, so how'd you meet your husband? And the first word out of her mouth, well, Johnny, he works for City Furniture too. So no matter what, as Johnny and Christy, as they're growing and they're doing great things and they're doing awesome things, City Furniture, because they invested that thousands, probably closer to $1 million on personal development, if you add up all the years that they spend, and it's a reoccurring payment that they're constantly putting into their employees, they were able to establish something, and now you have a family that's being raised with the security to raise their kid the right way. So you see as a business owner, and you're maybe getting approached by solicitors like me and things like that, and you say, oh, I don't need this personal development. I can save money. I can cut costs on personal development. Guess what? It's going to cost you money in the long run, because you're going to lose the people that you need. You're going to lose the loyal people that you need to keep your business running day to day. And if they're going to be attracted to the companies like the City Furnitures, like the LA Fitnesses and things like that. Well, let me not say LA Fitnesses. Well, in terms of the fitness world, yes, LA Fitness is corporate. They actually do some things, but I won't get into that. I used to be an LA Fitness employee, and that is an episode for another day. I won't even get started on that. What I am going to get started on those companies that have the structure to keep people employed. And not only do they have the structure to keep people employed, but they make sure they reinvest it in personal development so you could be more like the Johnny and Marie's versus the DJ and Marie's. The DJ and Marie's can run around saying, "Oh, well, I own a business," for their ego, yet the Christy and Johnny's can actually have, they're employees, but at the end of the day, they are living a much more fulfilling, they're in a much more fulfilling situation because they work for a company that provides the personal and professional, personal development, which leads to a great deal of professional development. That's the key. That's another point that you got to jot down. Personal development is done right. It's going to lead to professional development, which will require an episode in and of itself, and it'll be coming out soon. Don't worry. I'm very knowledgeable, and I consider myself an expert on this topic. And this is going to be one of many in which I am explaining to you as an owner or an employee the importance of making sure you're doing things that are going to develop you as a person, as an entire person. All right. Again, make the investment in personal development. Cannot stress the importance of that enough. All right. Fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.
All my colors for you. Take my love, I'll never ask for too much. Just all that you are and everything that you do. I don't really need to look very much further. I don't wanna have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again. This passion inside can't run from myself. There's nowhere to hide. But don't make me close one more door. I don't wanna hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. Must I imagine you there? Don't walk away from me. I have nothing, nothing, nothing if I don't have You see through right to the heart of me. You break down my walls with the strength